LeBron James obviously in the news with the Lakers and them putting together another big three with Russell Westbrook and then bringing in a lot of talent around them. Charles Barkley was on a show with Bob Costas recently, and he was asked about who is better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. And here's what he said, and he brought up the super team element.
Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan. LeBron is amazing. What he's done in the community is amazing. The reason I give Jordan the edge, and I'm never going to say it actually, in fairness, I haven't even put LeBron past Kobe. Let's get that out the way. I want to be fair.
All right.
The reason I put Michael up there before those other guys, LeBron has stacked his teams. Let's be realistic. And
as Kevin Durant did and others have done.
And that's why
their legacy?
Yes.
Russell Westbrook now on his way. It's a trade, but on his way to the Lakers.
So I do. Like what Giannis and Dirk Nowitzki, guys like that, especially Giannis is the perfect example. They go through the grind and to lose, which Michael did. Mm-hmm. When I was watching that documentary, I was like, I forgot how bad the Pistons beat him up. But going through that struggle, that's what separates sports. Like winning all the time, like we all want to win, but the struggle is part of your legacy. And what Giannis did this year, and what Michael doing when the Pistons beat the hell out of him for 3 or 4 straight years, and he's like, no, I'm going to keep getting better. I'm going to keep getting better. That's the difference in my opinion.
All right. One of LeBron's former teammates, Rob, Richard Jefferson, who now is, doing good work as a commentator and broadcaster over at the other network. He chimed in on was it Twitter or Instagram? Instagram, and he answered Barkley, Rob. And here's what he said. Rob G, read to us what he posted. Richard Jefferson.
In all fairness, Chuck is right. LeBron didn't get drafted to a team with Shaq like Kobe. Cavs never found the Pippen in Bron's first 8 years because he was too good. They never drafted that high. P.S. Charles got drafted to a team with Dr. J, Moses Malone, and 2 other Hall of Famers. I see his point, though.
Richard Jefferson poking fun as only he can. You want to go first on this, Rob?
No, you can. I mean, I just...
Look, obviously, LeBron has put together super teams. That's undeniable. That, for me, when you look at the greatest and you compare the elites, there's many factors, and that can be one. But that is not a defining factor for me. Barkley said, and the reason why I put Jordan ahead of LeBron is because LeBron stacked his teams. That's not the end-all, be-all for me. And he said, he's got Kobe ahead of LeBron as well, and I'm assuming it's because he feels like LeBron stacked his teams and Kobe didn't. But I think LeBron's better than Kobe. I think he's just a better all-around player. He's a more efficient scorer. I think he's a better all-around defender, even though Kobe was a tenacious on-the-ball defender. Kobe got lost at times in the team defense, and so because he focused so much on his defender. And so I think LeBron has a few advantages. The reason I have Jordan over LeBron is that's really not the main factor to me. The factors to me are Jordan had no weaknesses, none. And LeBron, we're nitpicking, but free throw shootings can be a weakness. LeBron being the system versus fitting into a system, which Jordan was able to fit into a system, makes it easier to play players around him. Jordan dominated the league in a way that LeBron didn't. The way LeBron dominated the East in getting to those 8 straight finals and no one else could get to the finals and they knew it, that's how Jordan dominated the entire NBA. The entire NBA, the East and West. And Jordan broke several conventional rules. Rob, you know this. It was thought that to be impossible to build a dynasty, let alone a championship team, let alone a dynasty, around a 2-guard. Jerry West had come close and they kept getting to the finals, but he only won 1 championship. You didn't think you could build around a 2-guard, and obviously they did around Jordan. And, Rob, you know this. When Jordan entered the league, the belief was you couldn't lead the league in scoring and win, right? I mean, if you do it, that's great for you individually, But you ain't about to win nothing. Larry Bird, as great a scorer as Bird was, never led the league in scoring. You know, Dr. J. Moses, when they won championships, didn't lead the league in scoring. The Lakers, when they won all those championships in the 80s, didn't have a league-leading scorer. Kareem did it once in Milwaukee, but it was rare. Jordan did it every time he won a championship, he led the league in scoring. 10 straight years. And so those are my reasons. It's not, you know, this can be a factor for some people. But like I said, I still got LeBron ahead of everybody else who some would say didn't stack teams. I just got him second to Mike. But there are other things I want to get in on this, but I want to hear you first, Rob.
Yeah, I think that this is Charles's list. Everybody has their own list and their own, you know, reasons why they pick certain players. And I think it is. I think for some people it is a turnoff, and the route that LeBron went, when you've seen other people not have to go that route in order to do it, to feel like he has to stack the deck. When he upset the apple cart in the Eastern Conference, when you take, you know, you go to Miami and join Dwayne Wade, and you take Chris Bosh from Toronto, you know, then you're in control of the Eastern Conference. So people do look at stuff like that. And then LeBron, for all the, you know, all the going to the finals, he lost a lot. He's lost more than any other finals, regular season MVP than anybody else. And then don't bring up not Rick Barry. Don't bring
Jerry
up
West.
Jerry West, because he never won an MVP. So don't bring him up when you're listening, because that's what the minions will do. What about Jerry West? He was 1-8. What about Jerry West? No, Jerry West, okay? I'm just trying to educate you before you go there.
Rob picked his words very carefully. He said regular season MVP. He didn't say all-time great.
Regular season MVP.
He didn't say
that's
champion.
all.
Yeah, okay.
That's all. And I get where Charles is coming from. I think Michael's story is a great one, and especially for somebody who covered Michael Jordan during that time. Like, I remember everybody wasn't on board, Chris.
He got
a lot of people were like,
yep.
He's a great individual player. He'll never win. He doesn't make people better. I remember reading those stories and hearing all that. Yes, until he broke through. Nobody thought Scottie Pippen was the greatest thing like everybody builds him up now, Chris. No. He was the guy with the ice pack on his head at Game 7 in Detroit.
Absolutely.
So everybody stop with the revisionist history, okay? I was at that game. I didn't even think he'd ever recover from that, Chris. I'm telling you.
Let's stay on Pippen for a minute. Because, look, and Pippen, we give him his props, right? He's a great player. He's
not
a Hall of
ripping him.
Famer. Yeah, he was great. And he emerged as a great individual player the year Jordan was gone, the first year of retirement. But, look, I talked to somebody on that team in that locker room, and this was my feeling all along, Rob, and I think you probably heard me say it. But I wanted to run it by this person to see if they agree with me, because they were there. They were a player. They were a teammate. And I said, look, I don't think Scottie Pippen would have become what he did had he not played with Michael Jordan. And I don't mean just, well, Jordan was so good, he's drawing double and triple teams, so that opens things up for Scottie. No. I mean, if you were around those years and you watch Pippen's development and growth, you could see him learning from Michael. He averaged 7 points as a rookie. I think 14 the next year. It was somewhat similar to Chris Middleton's development. You know,
right.
And Pippen was a guy coming from freaking Central Arkansas, a guy that, you know, hadn't played against great competition, hadn't played in a great system, hadn't known what it takes to work at that level. And to his credit, he did it all. But he followed Jordan's example. If he had stayed in Seattle, they had never made that trade for Olden Polynice. I'm not sure, Rob, that Pippen becomes some all-time great player.
I'm with you. I'm just not convinced of that, considering what his beginnings were and what environment he was put in. Dude, when you're playing with, I'm sorry, you get confidence when that guy next to you, Chris, you know what I mean? Like, is doing what he's doing.
Yep.
Like,
Kind
seriously.
of like you do on the Odd Couple.
Yeah, all right. I don't know about. All right, where's Greg Melvin when you need him?
You put that one on a T for me.
Yeah, I know.
You
I
put
figured
that one
was
on a T
coming.
for me.
Unbelievable. But you get my point.
Right.
I just think people who try to make this thing like Mike didn't win until Scotty, stop.
Exactly.
I think that's the biggest false narrative going. Like, seriously.
Now let me say this for LeBron. Yes, he's built his teams. But Richard Jefferson is right, Rob. Magic, and we all love Magic. I got him 4th best overall behind Jordan, LeBron, and Kareem. But Magic went to the team with the reigning MVP, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And then, Rob, you know this, after they won a title, somehow they get, was it the number 1 pick, James Worthy? Like, I mean, they were stacked. Larry Bird had great play, Kevin McHale.
Yeah,
and
but they were
Robert
in last
Parrish.
place when he got there.
Were old. Those two weren't there.
They
were
team,
old.
That team wasn't
right.
good.
They had a bunch of Hall of
improved like
Famers, but they were
34
old.
games in
Right.
Larry Bird's first year.
They had Tiny Archibald, Dave Cowens, old dude, but they were old. They're Hall of Famers and greats, but they were old. Pistol Pete was actually there, but he left after Bird's first year, retired. But yeah, then they added some of the younger guys in McHale and eventually Parrish, and they won championships. And here's the thing, though, Rob. I'll say this to Barkley, who, as you know, we always praise how great he was. Charles should know, though, even on a stacked team, Rob, and yeah, it's if you ask me what's more impressive, it's the way Jordan did it or Giannis did it than the way Durant or LeBron did it with a super team. But it still ain't easy winning it with a super team. And Barkley, Rob, Richard Jefferson said it. He went to a team with Moses Malone, Dr. J. Now, they were older, but still. But then later, Rob, Barkley joined Olajuwon and Drexler for 2 years. They didn't win it. And Barkley was still very good. And so were the other two at that time. And then when Drexler retired, they added Pippen to replace him, and they still didn't get it done. And, Rob, we saw Malone, Peyton, Shaq, and Kobe not win it. We saw Nash, Dwight Howard, Kobe, and Powell not win it. So I get it. It is not building the team by yourself organically, taking whatever the heck the front office gives you and winning it. But it still isn't easy to win it with a super team. So I got to give him credit for that.
Right, but I do understand where Barkley's looking at the road that you take. Michael went to a historically terrible franchise in the Bulls and turned them into champions. I think that's the testament that you look at.
Should LeBron playing on these super teams be a factor in the GOAT conversation? What say you?
Let's kick it off with Brian in Missouri. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Brian?
Yeah, so when we're talking about the GOAT and LeBron playing on super teams, I think we need to delineate what we mean by GOAT. If we're talking about the greatest player of all time, certainly that's Jordan. But if we're talking about the greatest GM of all time, I think we need to consider LeBron. Not only did he build the super teams, recruit the super teams, but through contract negotiation, he got his people to come, he got elevated contracts, and then he would leave the team, and in the wake of his leaving, they were straddled with these terrible contracts.
It was
not only did he go to another good
left.
team,
Yeah,
not only go to a good team, but he eliminated one of his teams, so he lessened his competition.
Brian.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give you that. I don't know if you meant that as an insult or a compliment. Among players, there's no doubt LeBron is the GOAT executive. Would you agree with that, Rob?
I don't know, because he lost a lot. I mean,
but he still won 4 rings. You know?
I know, but it's not like 4 rings in 8 years. It's 4 years and 4 and 20.
Well, actually, it's 4 and 10. Well, yeah. I mean, he has won 4 in the last 10 years. He just won them all in this 10-year stretch. Yes.
Nick in South Carolina.
The little.
What? I'm just saying. Nick in South Carolina Is this Chris's boy right here? Do we know we're going to say? You're on the Odd Couple,
Nick
Fox Sports
loves
Radio.
facts.
This
That's
is
all.
Broussard's Brigade checking in.
My
How are
man.
you guys?
I just threw up in my
Great,
mouth.
It is
My
great
God.
to hear from you, Nick, as always.
Yeah, Nick, what
As
happened?
always.
I thought you had already gone to Jim Rome show, and we weren't going to hear from you again.
No, man, I am loyal as they come, so you guys will always hear from me. So, anyways,
Good to know.
no, man, Barkley is 100% wrong. Look, I'm going to say this. I think, in principle, Chris is right. LeBron joining the super team in Miami, it was similar in principle, but you can't say that it was any other way. It wasn't similar at all. So LeBron had to build chemistry. He had to build a winning culture, especially with the Cavs and Lakers, and he actually had to lead. So LeBron needed Wade to win, no doubt about that, but he averaged 16 points in the playoffs in 2013, while KD's second option and Steph, he was averaging 27 a game with 9 assists. So what KD did was absolutely unheard of as being a portable player as he is.
How did he win the MVP?
But he didn't have to lead. He didn't have to.
How did he win the MVP both years?
He just swooped in and stat padded his way.
How did he win the MVP
But
both years?
Rob, you got to admit what KD did. Come on.
No, but I'm asking if he didn't. It didn't matter what he was doing.
But
I'm just
still,
asking.
I mean,
how did he win the MVP both years? I'm just
nobody
asking.
said he didn't ball.
Oh,
but
okay.
come on, that was you heard Walt Frazier. KD's great, but that was a. They were 73 wins without him and a championship. That's all he's saying.
What? Yeah, but they choked down a championship. Juan in Puerto Rico. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. Very nice calling from Puerto Rico.
How you guys doing?
We're doing
Good,
great.
brother. How
You
are
listen
you?
to us over there?
Yes. Long time
The
listener.
Odd
Like many
Couple is large down in Puerto Rico.
Yes, sir. You guys that need to come down here and have a good time. You're definitely
do
going to
a
have it.
show
LeBron
down
was
there.
actually here a couple of weeks ago.
LeBron was hanging out.
Yeah,
vacation?
with Bad Bunny.
Okay.
Yeah,
With Bad Bunny.
So, yeah,
Hey, all right, so
definitely.
what you
you
got?
guys
What you
need to
got?
come down here. So
No doubt.
basically, I am definitely in favor of Jordan being the GOAT. That's for sure. But there still need to be a context because basically Cleveland, aside from the Clippers, is possibly the worst run organization of all time. That has to be taken into consideration. If you remember, guys, in 2009 when LeBron was supposed to meet Kobe in the finals, you saw the perfect example of the worst organization, small market, with Bobby Gibson, Sacha Pavlovich, Eric Snow, against a guy that had
Larry
Lamar
Hughes,
Odom,
Flip Murray.
Pau Gasol, Trevor Ariza, Ron Artest, the best coach of all time, and Phil Jackson is like a $50,000 muscle car against a Ferrari. It's mind-boggling that needs to be taken into context. And if you even take it into Durant basically was rostered by the second best small market team. The number one, obviously, is San Antonio. That's the best small market burst run organization. But the second best with Sam Presti, all those picks, James Harden, Steven Adams, Sergei Ibaka. I mean, give that team
Russ
to LeBron in the
Westbrook.
first 8 years. Give that team to LeBron in the first 8 years with the Cavs, with James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Steven Adams, Sergei Ibaka. And it's night and day.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That is a good point. He made that was a nice call from Puerto Rico.